Welcome to Max Premieres. This time we bring you 10 action and thriller films already available to watch right now on the major streaming platforms. From long-awaited sequels to science fiction blockbusters, family horror, and the return of classic franchises. No excuses for boredom this week. But before we get into it, it would mean a lot if you took a moment to leave a like and subscribe to the channel. Thank you so much for the support. Number 10, Icefall. A young indigenous game warden on Native American land arrests a notorious poacher in the dead of winter. What looks like a routine case becomes something entirely different when she discovers that the man she just arrested knows exactly where a plane carrying millions of dollars crashed beneath a frozen lake. Before they can decide what to do with that information, a group of armed criminals and corrupt cops is already on the way. The only way out is for two enemies to become allies and cross the frozen lake together before the ice starts giving way beneath them. Joel Kinnaman is the kind of actor who turns silence into performance, and here he is the gravitational center of the whole story. Cara Jade Myers, known from Killers of the Flower Moon, brings real authenticity and screen presence to the lead role. Danny Houston makes for an effective antagonist. The cold itself becomes a character, and that works in the film's favor. A clean, competently executed action picture perfect for a weekend evening without pretensions. Number 9, The Astronaut. After her first space mission, astronaut Sam Walker returns to Earth under circumstances that investigators cannot explain. Her capsule crashes into the Atlantic with her inside, and the impact is anomalous in too many ways. A general places her in strict quarantine under NASA surveillance for rehabilitation and medical testing. But as the exams continue, disturbing events begin occurring in the isolated facility where she is being held, and Sam starts to fear that something extraterrestrial followed her back home. Kate Mara leads the cast with a restrained performance that keeps the mystery intact for most of the film, and Lawrence Fishburne adds dramatic weight to the general's role. The film works best in its first half when the threat remains ambiguous and the atmosphere builds with real patience. The ending divides audiences who have seen it, and that is part of its particular charm. As a modestly budgeted sci-fi thriller with a solid cast and a genuinely unsettling premise, it earns the hour and a half it asks for. Number 8, Boneyard. The skeletal remains of 11 women and girls are discovered in the New Mexico desert. The case reopens old wounds and throws suspicion in every possible direction. A police chief, a detective, and an FBI agent have to coordinate the investigation without destroying each other first, since each one arrives with their own agenda and their own secrets to protect. Mel Gibson plays the federal agent with the weary intensity that works well for him in the genre, and Curtis Jackson brings considerable physical presence to the police chief role. The film is inspired by the real-life West Mesa murders, a case that occurred in Albuquerque and was never officially solved. That detail gives it an unsettling quality that no manufactured plot twist could replicate. It is not a first-rate production. Some subplots do not close properly and certain dialogue lines lose momentum where they should gain it. But as a true crime thriller for a quiet evening, it delivers enough to keep you hooked. Available on Prime Video and for free on Tubi. Number 7, Five Nights at Freddy's 2. Mike and Abby Schmidt survived the horror of Freddy Fazbear's Pizza. 1 year after the events of the first film, a new location of the restaurant opens its doors with a redesigned generation of animatronics called the Toys. Abby, who never got over losing her mechanical friends, cannot resist investigating. What she finds inside is worse than anything they left behind. Video game creator Scott Cawthon wrote the screenplay for this second installment, which expands the mythology of the Afton family and adds new faces including Skeet Ulrich and McKenna Grace to the cast, alongside returning members Josh Hutcherson and Matthew Lillard. Critics destroyed it with a 16% score on Rotten Tomatoes, but audiences showed up in massive numbers and turned it into a $239 million worldwide hit. That says a lot about who this franchise speaks to and how effectively it does it. Not art house cinema. Fan horror made with conviction, delivering exactly what was promised from the first trailer. Number 6, The Running Man. In a near future controlled by authoritarian media conglomerates, Ben Richards is a working-class man with absolutely nothing to lose. To pay for his gravely ill daughter's medical treatment, he agrees to compete on the most-watched television program in the country, The Running Man. The rules are simple and brutal. 30 days surviving while professional killers hunt him live for the entertainment of millions. What no one expects is that Richards turns out to be so good at surviving that he starts becoming an uncontrollable media phenomenon. Edgar Wright, the director of Baby Driver and Scott Pilgrim, brings his signature visual rhythm to this reimagining of Stephen King's novel. Glenn Powell is completely in his element in the lead role, and Josh Brolin plays a genuinely threatening antagonist with an effective coldness. The result operates as an action thriller and as media satire at the same time, without either layer sacrificing the other. It underperformed theatrically, but on Paramount Plus it has found the audience it was missing in theaters. Number 5. Tron: Ares. Ares is a highly sophisticated AI military program existing inside the grid, the digital world the Tron franchise has been building since 1982. When a corporation sends him into the real world for the first time, his arrival marks the first contact between digital beings and humanity. Two rival companies compete fiercely to capture him, one with military ambitions, the other with peaceful applications in mind. The only person who can help him survive outside the grid is Eve Kim, a tech executive who quickly becomes a fugitive alongside him. Jared Leto brings unexpected restraint to the role, and Greta Lee is probably the best reason to watch the film. The 9 Inch Nails score is spectacular in every sequence, and the film is available in IMAX Enhanced on Disney Plus for those with the right equipment. Visually, it is impressive frame by frame, though it has narrative rough spots. Jeff Bridges returns as Kevin Flynn to connect this chapter with the universe he started decades ago, a second chance the film deserves. Number 4. Wake Up Dead Man. Benoit Blanc returns for his third case, and this time ventures into darker territory than any previous installment, a small church in upstate New York. A Monsignor found dead during his own Good Friday service, under circumstances that defy all logic. A case that Blanc himself describes as perfectly impossible. Josh O'Connor leads the roster of suspects as a young priest sent there as a form of punishment, with Glenn Close, Josh Brolin, Mila Kunis, and Jeremy Renner rounding out what is probably the strongest ensemble of the trilogy. Rian Johnson continues exploring the malleability of the whodunit genre, this time leaning toward a more gothic and spiritually charged atmosphere than the two previous installments. The result holds a 92% approval rating on Rotten Tomatoes, and a significant portion of critics consider it the best entry in the series. Blanc has become such a rich and beloved character that any new case Johnson proposes already has the audience on his side. Available on Netflix since December 12. Number 3. Nuremberg. November 1945. The most powerful Nazi leaders in history are imprisoned in Nuremberg awaiting trial. The U.S. Army sends psychiatrist Douglas Kelly to evaluate them and determine whether they are mentally fit to stand before an international tribunal. What Kelly does not expect is to find in Hermann Göring a man of extraordinary intelligence, fully aware of every one of his crimes and perfectly capable of manipulating anyone who sits across from him. Rami Malek plays Kelly, and Russell Crowe transforms into Göring in a performance critics unanimously called the best work from both actors in recent years. The psychological duel between them is the absolute heart of this production, historically imperfect according to many critics who noted considerable narrative liberties, but as an intellectual drama about the nature of evil and the banality of organized cruelty, it is absolutely gripping from start to finish. Available on Netflix since the 7th of March 2026. Number 2. Now You See Me, Now You Don't. 9 years after their last public appearance, the Four Horsemen are back on the international stage. This time they must team up with a new generation of younger illusionists to take down Veronica Vanderberg, a diamond heiress who has built a criminal empire on money laundering and international trafficking. The veterans and the recruits do not get along from the very first moment, and that internal tension proves just as dangerous to the mission as the enemy in front of them. Jesse Eisenberg, Woody Harrelson, Dave Franco, and Isla Fisher reprise their original roles, while Rosamund Pike plays the antagonist with her characteristic on-screen elegance. Justice Smith, Dominic Sessa, and Ariana Greenblatt join as the new faces of the expanded team. Ruben Fleischer directs a film that knows exactly what it is and what its audience comes looking for from the very first frame. $213 million globally confirms it. Available on Starz since March 2026. Number 1. Predator. Badlands. Dek is a young Yautja that his own father considers too weak to be a true hunter. Exiled and with nothing to lose, he is sent to Jenna, known among his people as the Death Planet, where he must face the Kalisk, a supreme and immortal creature that not even the clan leader dares to challenge. On that journey, he encounters Thea, a Weyland-Yutani synthetic who becomes his only possible ally. Dan Trachtenberg, the director of Prey, returns to the franchise and turns an improbable coming-of-age story into a space western with an emotional layer that is completely unexpected for the genre. The alliance between the Predator and the synthetic is the heart of a film that constantly surprises viewers who came expecting a conventional hunt story. 86% from critics and 95% audience approval on Rotten Tomatoes. The most beloved entry in the franchise since the 1987 original, on Disney Plus and Hulu since the 12th of February 2026. And that wraps up our look at 10 films you can watch today without waiting any longer. War thriller, pure action, animatronic horror, and top-tier mystery. If you enjoyed this video, do not forget to leave a like, subscribe, and hit the bell so you never miss what we drop next. We will keep bringing you the best of the international catalog so you always have something to watch tonight.